Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today for this public workshop. We will begin the presentation shortly. Here we are. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today for this public workshop. My name is Mike Campbell. I'm a landscape architect and the project manager for Whitman Reckwart and Associates. We are the designers working on behalf of DelDOT and the city of Seaford. Joining me today, we also have Tim Snow from WRA, who will be the workshop moderator, Burley Mears from the city of Seaford, the director of public works, as well as Todd Pryor, DelDOT's project manager representing the TAP program. Before we begin, we'd like to go over a couple of the workshop logistics. There are multiple ways to listen to the presentation. If you're unable to use your computer speakers, you may also call in utilizing the information shown on the screen. All participants will be muted throughout the presentation, but there will be opportunities to submit questions and answers, or submit questions. You may ask a question at any time during the presentation by using the questions function located within the GoToWebinar platform. If you're unable to submit a question, please email your question to tim@timsnow@wrallp.com, and we will do our best to make sure that the question is answered during the question and answering period following this presentation. The presentation and a copy of all the workshop materials will be made available during the 30-day public comment period. In the coming days after this presentation, an email will be sent to all registered participants with a link to access the documentation, including an online survey. For today's presentation, we will be making a brief presentation of the proposed improvements, followed by a moderated question and answer session. The project area shown here includes 3 intersections in the city's downtown area at the convergence of Market Street, High Street, South Front Street, and Water Street. Located just north of the Nanticoke River, these roads converge to form a triangular area known as Gateway Park, which is maintained and operated by the city of Seaford. Access and mobility for all users is currently limited in several locations within the project area. In this photo, you can see that the public sidewalk along South Front Street is limited to a walkway that is only accessible by stairs. Also along Front Street, there is currently a lack of sidewalk connections to and from Gateway Park. In addition to pedestrian safety improvements, the project also aims to contribute to the city's effort to improve water quality of the Nanticoke River. The Nanticoke River is a critical natural resource that not only provides environmental benefits, but also promotes ecotourism and recreation for the city. So how did we get here? In 2016, the city of Seaford adopted the Riverfront Vision 2025 plan. This plan included recommendations for enhancement around the area of Gateway Park, which would promote pedestrian access throughout the downtown Seaford area. The city applied for transportation alternative funds, and DelDOT as well as WRA performed a concept plan with proposed pedestrian and traffic improvements and included detailed cost estimates. In 2019, the Salisbury-Wicomico Metropolitan Planning Organization provided funding on behalf of the city of Seaford to advance the project into final design. And in 2020, DelDOT committed to funding the final design and construction of the project. Proposed improvements include gateway enhancements to downtown Seaford from the Nanticoke River, new sidewalks and crosswalks to promote mobility, curb extensions to shorten walking distance for pedestrians, rain gardens for improved stormwater quality, ADA compliant curb ramps throughout the project area, and additional on-street parking to promote commercial businesses within the downtown area. This image shows the extent of the project limits and the overall project improvements. The Nanticoke River and the new apartments along Water Street are just to the south. City Hall is just off the map to the northwest, and you can see here the Royal Farms is under construction, which we all know has been completed to the north. So zooming in a bit, the proposed improvements at High Street and Market Street include tightening the curb radius, eliminating right turns from Market Street onto High Street, new brick sidewalks to match the downtown streetscape improvements, and new sidewalks along Market Street. Moving to the east, intersection improvements are proposed at High Street and South Front Street, which include a curb extension to shorten pedestrian crossing distances and provide traffic calming, and on-street parking for southbound vehicles along South Front Street. A new sidewalk is also proposed along Gateway Park, and a new curb extension and sidewalk along the northbound side will also provide additional pedestrian connections. The curb extension of Gateway Park also allows for aesthetic enhancements of the gateway and the behind the curb bioretention areas to capture stormwater runoff. These stormwater management areas will not only serve to reduce the overall TMDL loading of the nearby Nanticoke River, but also provide aesthetic improvements with seasonal plantings and greening for seasonal interest. Here you can see at the southern end of the project area, the proposed improvements include new unsignalized pedestrian crossing of South Front Street and Market Street, and curb extensions to provide pedestrian refuge, a new ADA accessible sidewalk on the northbound South Front Street, as well as the bioretention areas. Here you can see the current conditions, which do not currently promote pedestrian access into Gateway Park or safe crossing of both of these high-use, high-volume roadway areas. And here is a rendering of what the proposed improvements will look like. There's the beautification with proposed new signage and landscape to promote the gateway and really provide a sense of place for the community. So when will this project be built? That's what everyone wants to know. We are currently wrapping up final design plans for DelDOT, and we anticipate advertising the project for construction in 2021 with an anticipated construction completion date in 2022. That was our brief presentation. I want to thank you all for attending the workshop. If you have any questions that we don't address in the question and answer period that is coming up, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at any time. I can be reached at the email address and phone number shown on the screen. This concludes the presentation part, and I'll ask our panelists to join in and address any questions that may have been submitted.
Okay, hey guys, it's Tim from WRA. We have a question from Ben. If these roads are high volume, should rapid flashing beacons be used to promote safe crossing of pedestrians?
Yeah, so that's something that we looked at during the planning and design of this. Unfortunately, because there isn't an existing crossing there now, the volumes and it wasn't warranted for crossing because there's not high pedestrian use there now. But it is something that is being considered, and we're hoping that in the future that can be added once the demand is increased for pedestrians accessing and crossing at those locations. There is a crossing that was installed for the city at the location of the hospital, further down downtown. And that would be a similar situation that we would be looking to add potentially at that location at the southern end, an enhanced pedestrian crossing at that location.
Okay. No other questions at the moment. Haven't gotten any emails from anybody.
Okay. We'll give it a second. And like I said, this will be posted. DelDOT will provide a link, and we'll send an email out to everyone who registered as an attendee with a link to where they can access the presentation, and at any time can provide additional comments or questions through that link, or reach out to me as well. Todd or Burley, do you have anything to add before we wrap up the presentation? Nope.
Just excited. It's a great project, and we just want to get it going. Get to construction.
Okay, looks like we have a question from Mike. How long will construction take?
So we had originally had this possibly phased into 2 projects, but we are looking at combining and completing this all under one construction project. The last schedule we looked at was about we're considering about a 12-month total construction schedule to complete all the proposed improvements. Mainly because there's a lot of phasing that needs to be done from a traffic standpoint, just making sure that traffic can flow and function properly during construction.
Okay, and we have another question from Ben. Will the roads be closed during construction?
Oh, for me, I don't believe we have any permanent road closure proposed as part of our construction sequencing. The idea would be to construct it so that traffic can be maintained throughout construction.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Just give it another 30 seconds there, Tim, just to make sure everyone had a chance to input their questions. All right, looks like we don't have any more questions, Tim. Then I think we'll conclude our presentation, and we look forward to getting the project moving forward. So I'd like to thank everybody again for joining, and please be on the lookout for the link to provide a opportunity to provide any more questions and fill out the online survey. All right, well, hope everyone has a great afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.